Drop, release, let it go. What does time have to do with anxiety? What does space have to do with anxiety? What does light have to do with anxiety? What is anxiety? According to the dictionary, always start there. Anxiety is a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. Eckhart Tolle, known for his teachings on mindfulness and the power of now, said anxiety is about too much future or too much past. I have found this to be true in my practice and in my work. In Buddhist thought, time is represented as the triple worlds of past, present, and future. Space is represented by the 10 directions. Putting the two together refers to all of space and time, or space-time. Sensory conditions that we experience arise in space-time. The mind is originally free from illusions, but illusions arise in response to sensory conditions. If we are dealing with the past, we are only dealing with memory. If we are dealing with the future, we are dealing with imagination. Memory and imagination are both illusions, and, in turn, our perception of the past and future are illusions. They are not about now or about things as they are. By definition, anxiety is not about things occurring now. You can handle now. How about now? Space and time are intricately tied together, and one cannot exist without the other. Thinking about the illusory nature of space, time, and light helped me recently. The other day, after a long workout, I tried to help a friend who had hurt his back. I worked on his back and later found out that he was in pain for much of the night. His wife, my trainer and sensei, texted me and said, "I think you broke Luke." I felt awful learning he was hurt and concerned that I had contributed to his pain. I worried about the consequences of my actions undertaken with the best of intentions. Was he angry with me? I wonder, why hasn't he called me back? How can I make this right? When I had these thoughts, I had no clue about how he was doing. Later, I learned that he was doing a bit better, but not from him. I thought, how will I be greeted the next time I see him? Luke and I have sparred before and practiced different moves in martial arts on each other. In a word, we have hurt each other before, but never seriously. Even with this history and knowing he is a gentle spirit, I was worried. The narrow vision created by my anxiety left out some key facts that came back to me later. I realized that many circumstances led to his getting hurt. I still felt lousy, and my friend, as far as I knew, was still hurt. I had to work on the day that I learned he was in pain. I tried to focus on work tasks and on helping patients. Worried about him, I called again and texted when I had a break. No answer. To keep from worrying when I was not busy, I used my cell phone apps to distract me. I also worked on this talk to distract me as a way to process what I was going through. The more stressed I got, the more abstract and convoluted my thoughts became. They formed a virtual labyrinth of thought, shielding me from my feelings and what was really bothering me. Let's walk in that maze for a moment. First, I tried to turn Buddhist space-time into a hypercube, a tesseract, a four-dimensional representation of space-time among other things. This distracted me for a while. Then I realized it would hardly be useful to most folks, especially because I don't fully understand it myself. This still took a while. Then I delved into the nature of space-time and why it's important to understand. You may still be wondering, what does this have to do with anxiety? Good. Space is thought to remain still while matter moves through it. We are always entering a new space. After all, there is very little substance to us. We are mostly space when you look at matter at the level of the atom and the subatomic levels. To me, this creates a constant space wash, a baptism, if you will, allowing us to start anew. Knowing this makes what has happened in the past less anxiety-provoking. Things have already changed. Once something or someone is in the past, it cannot come back. Even our return to temple is an illusion of returning to the same space. It has changed. Also, matter is in constant motion, never staying the same. The temple has changed. Granted, things seeming the same is useful, especially when we want to define the temple this morning. What has happened and now exists only in memory. It does not recur. As to the future, I'm curious to see what it brings, though at times my imagination runs to wild and dark places. What if Luke had herniated a disc or cracked a spinous process, and on my mind raced. He must be angry with me. I wished my imagination was less vivid and less anxiety-fueled. I realized my vision of the future is an illusion. The future is without form. Realizing this, I imagine space. And this helps me empty my teacup of anxious thoughts. It's not a pleasant tea to drink. Better to pour it out, to let it go. Okay. Let's take a moment on a brief meditation. We're going to meditate on space with some guidance. Sit with good posture as you do in meditation. Close your eyes if you like. Imagine space. The space between the sun and the earth. The earth and the moon. Between you and the Buddha sitting next to you. The space that makes up most of you. The space between atoms and within atoms. Space is space, whether large or small. It is continuous, connected. It is all one. Rest in this space. In this emptiness without form. Do this now. Open your eyes. The eternal cosmic dance continues at the most basic level in space-time, occupied by the smallest quantities of matter. The universe will unwind as it will according to universal principles. My mistakes, my errant thoughts cannot wreck the whole universe, though it sometimes makes my days harder. Appreciating this puts my problems in perspective. It lessens the anxiety. Meditating on the nature of light also helps put things in perspective. Light is a special case with regard to time. Moving at light speed, beams of light do not experience time. There is no perception of the change in time when traveling at the speed of light. Light, in a sense, occupies the eternal now. Poetic visions of us as beings of light brings me a sense of joy and contentment. Without any past and without any future, there can be no anxiety, because anxiety is not about now. It is not about reality. Here in the temple we chant Namu Amitabha. We're asking to return the original light of our true nature, our true being. As I composed this talk, I was thinking, trying to help myself deal with anxiety and suffering, and try to put it together organically in terms of some things that I've learned. And then, when asking the Kyominim for scriptures, they pointed out several, but one particular has all these elements, which to me means unconsciously it's been penetrating in all the time I've been here. And it's on page 12 if you'd like to look. The Truth of Ilwan Song. You're welcome to read it with me if you feel the need. Ilwan is the source, original source of all things in the universe, the mind seal of all the Buddhas and sages, and the original nature of all sentient beings, the realm where there is no discrimination regarding great and small, being and non-being, the realm where there is no change amid arising and ceasing, coming and going, the realm where wholesome and unwholesome karmic consequences have ceased, the realm where language, names, and signs are utterly void. Through the light of the void and calm, numinous awareness, the discrimination regarding great and small, being and non-being appears, whereupon the distinction between wholesome and unwholesome karmic consequences comes into being. Language, names, and signs also become obvious, so that the triple worlds in the 10 directions appear like a jewel in hand. Thus the creative transformations of true voidness and marvelous existence freely conceal and reveal themselves through all things in the universe, throughout the vast eons without beginning. This is the truth of Ilwan Song. When we fail to accept things as they are, we create karma, suffering, of which anxiety is but one form. Back to my story about my friend. As I worried about my friend, I realized what he needed was, forgive the pun, some space and time. Despite my imaginings, it turns out that he recovered quite well, and I watched him compete in a martial arts competition yesterday where he won in the sparring and in kata. It tells you the difference between what may arise in the mind and what is going on in reality. With the perception of Il Song, of imagining space-time, light, and taking them within, with that perspective, I would have been less anxious, and I'm still working on it.